We now invite Mr. Sherif Hamoudah, Managing Director and Vice President, Acision UAE, to kindly take his seat on the dais. Sir has 23 years of experience in general management, sales, marketing, and design of large information technology systems. He is currently a part of executive team that manages Acision worldwide and is managing a team of 80 individuals across 77 countries.
Prior to this, Sir was Vice President for Telecom, Transport, and Media Industries at Oracle. Sir was also associated with Motorola and IBM in the Gulf states.
We welcome you, sir, to Communique 11. Sir, we request you to kindly preside over the session on delivering innovative services and enhanced user experience to drive data service revenue.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here with you. And I have to tell you, ever since I came here, I'm impressed. I'm impressed to be around, professional students that gave me the feel that I'm sitting in an international event in a very big way. I'm a speaker in many of the GSM Congress, WorldCom conferences, and this is equal or even better than some of those events. I'd like to really thank Symbiosis to invite me to this conference. And I have to tell you all, you are in the right direction. The future is bright for you. Your leaders, I've seen the presentation of Mr. Sunil yesterday. I've seen the level of the presentations. It's excellent, and it's very good to be around you. You have to be proud of yourself, and don't ever be scared. The future is bright for you guys. Thank you to be with you. Well, today I'm going to talk with you for the coming 20 minutes. I'll try to zip through. My style of presentation is always a bit quick because I don't like people to sleep. And you can stop me in the middle. I don't want you to wait till the end. You can stop me and ask me questions, challenge me. I like challenges. So you can ask me whatever you like to ask. And on the same time, this is a very open presentation. It's a little bit of the ideas of my company that I represent, Acision, which we are the world leader in VAS market. We're the #1 VAS player. We have about 35% market share of the messaging worldwide. We were the first company to come up with SMS. We were the first company to come with MMS. We have a lot of innovation record. We were formerly, or known previously as Logica CMG. So now I'll proceed with the presentation. As I said, anytime if there's a question or anything, just open and ask me about any of that stuff. Thanks. Okay, if we look at the evolution of the IT and the telecoms industries, you'll see that both of them are moving in the same direction. If you look at the IT, we started with the mainframe. If you're a gray hair like me, you'll know that we started with the mainframe. You probably have written a code in assembly, maybe. And then we moved to the mini computing with the IBM and the HPs at that side. Then personal computing with Microsoft started heavily in this 80s, then desktop internet computing, then laptops and notebooks. Then we moved to basically the mobile and now the tablets. If you moved in the telecoms world, you'll see basically we started with the landline, then we started with the mobile phone, then the messaging application, moving all the way to WAP, 3G, and all the way they lead to the same direction. So what does the consumer want, basically? If there is this evolution, if the IT and the telecoms and also the media are merging together, what does me as a consumer want? I talk with many CEOs, and I talk with many of the consumers, VIP consumers, and this is exactly the list that they tell me. They want to be, they want value for money, they want to always be connected, they want it reliable, they want it fast, and I want it to be safe and secure, and I want it also to have a little bit of my identity, a little bit of who I am. Basically, you see the people they have a lot of personalized things. Ladies, they will have a mobile that has a pink cover. A guy will have it more of a black cover. It depends about also a little bit of the status and the, the mind basically on it. Also, I wanted to have an ease of payment, and I want online care. Talking to many of the operators, a lot of them are putting their call centers right now connected to Facebook and to Twitter. Many of the operators are connected to Twitters, and they have to do that. And basically that shows excellence basically in service. So basically what the user wants, he wants a controlled environment. He wants an empowered and a controlled environment from a vendor that he trust, and giving him what he wants. And he wants to move his environment with him. So if I look at my kids, if I look at my relatives, basically, they want to, when they're moving away, when they are moving in the move, they want the environment to move them. It's not only at home. I want it to be always with me. They want it all to be connected without a stop. And if there is a problem, they want to complain about it immediately. And they want to respond. They expect to respond. So this is the world that we're living on today. It's not the world of yesterday. We as Acision, responding to this, since we have been in innovation and one of the early players from more than 20 years in the telecoms world, we have come up with a value proposition that it's very, very simple value proposition. And it's very much coming from the data side. So we are the people who will help you basically very much with the value-added services, with the data side type of applications, will help you to charge for it and will enhance the quality of the experience for the customer. So basically, we'll offer with you basically messaging, all the things around the messaging, the bells and whistles. So SMS, MMS, instant messaging, voice gateway, and something called the multi-VAS, which is basically having the same chassis, SMS, MMS, voicemail, and running from the same power and have a virtualization around them. And also, at the same time, have a lot of value proposition on top of this simple type of applications. Have a more personalized messages, have a more collect call type or collect SMS type, have a type of chat over SMS, have a lot of ecosystem around the messaging side. On the same time, we cannot forget about the broadband, because broadband is proliferating everywhere. It's everywhere, so you have to have an offering in the broadband. So we came up with a lot of applications on the broadband, things that allow you to do optimization, caching, on the same time policy enforcement. And broadband offering is never complete without having a charging and a reliable charging engine. So we have a very strong charging engine that's natively for data that allow you to offer a very, very targeted offering and simple offering, and also notify the subscriber online. Many of the operators offer a lot of offerings, but it's very passive. It's not dynamic. The operators that's giving the freedom to the customer to choose what he wants are the ones that's going to expand rapidly, especially in the coming data world, because more and more we're moving towards data. And if you're coming from the gray hair like myself also, we used to live in the CDR world. Now it's the IPDR, and it's 10 times more than the CDR days. So we need to have much simpler tool and very reliable, very fast. That's why our structure of our offering, our mechanism of our software basically, is done in a very, very simple way. We've done it in a 3-layer approach. One of them is a simple layer, which is down to connect to all the network elements, all basically to the layers, the low layers of the TCP stack. Whoever is coming from a technical background will know that these are all connectivity down to the network side. So that is one layer then. Then we have all the service ecosystem, which is all the logic sits on top of that. Then all the open API, all the interfaces, which is all about connectivity. And we divided the offering between those. So we have a lot of our applications based on those 3 structures, basically. And that's across. And management platforms on top of that. What we see from this type of service environment, this will give us the scalability to manage the rapid growth that's happening now, in the machine-to-machine, in the communication that's moving very, very fast now, especially in the messaging side. There is more messaging that's happening from rich communication switch and machine-to-machine more than from the person-to-person. So our offering, our complete offering is based on, as I said, complete messaging from text, multimedia, voice, and instant messaging, social networking. And social networking is a big, big, big era, a big thing that's happening in the telecoms industry now. And whoever is going to forget about it, whoever is not paying attention to this is going to miss a big boat. There's big money to be made here, and this is the best way to communicate with the young generations. There is mobile video, there is mobile mail, there we have mobile banking, all of this application between us and our ecosystems, and mobile payments. And this touches the life of humans now. When I'm traveling and I'm going to Africa, if you look at mobile payments and you look at the mobile money, it's the most important application today in East Africa. Each and every operator is offering mobile money. When they had the civil war in Kenya, the only reliable source to send money, the guy, you know, the worker that's working in Nairobi to send money in the remote areas of Kenya to his mom was only through the M-Pesa program that they had with Safaricom. And it gave them a huge advantage over their competition. So this is touching the life of the people in the rural area. So we have to pay attention to it. And also having a flexible tariff. You need to have a very, very flexible tariff. And I'll go through this in details in my presentation. Now, if you look at the traditional business of SMS, the volumes are increasing, and it's increasing rapidly. As I said, there is machine to machine, there is more rich communication suites application, there is a lot of things that are happening. But the ARPU, with the drop of the ARPU, I've seen the ARPU here in India is at $2, it's going to drop to $1.50. The ARPU in Pakistan is $2.50. It's also dropping rapidly. The ARPU in Tanzania is one of the low countries that I manage also, is at $3. If you look at the other countries also, like Sri Lanka also, it's dropping. Worldwide, the ARPU is dropping, except on the data side. The data is the one that's making the ARPU a bit higher in some places like North America. So what we added as a messaging player, as a player that's playing from the data side, is we added a lot of things, basically, to this type of simple application, things like personalized message, what we call Message Plus, adding things on top of the simple application to increase the ARPU and give the operator a differentiator. Things like VIP routing. If I'm a VIP and I'm reaching, we have a burst like during the holiday burst, Christmas, basically, the Diwali, you want to send everybody an SMS. For the VIPs, they can have a VIP routing and they can have a highest delivery than most of the rest of the people. Personalized messaging is basically also if I want to have a kind of vCall type of message with my signature on top of it, or if I want to have basically a messaging that have an ad insertion on it. All of these things increase the ARPU by about 15%. And this is a trend right now for the operators too. This is the only way for them to keep money coming from the classical type of applications. So if you look at it from the 3 layers approach that I mentioned, you have to create things for the network, and from the logic, basically, you have to have the personalized messages or the services message, which is basically with an environment for service creation. So you need to have things like mask mobile number, you don't show your mobile number, or basically have a signature at the end, or a copy. Have a copy, so sending it to somebody, and also have a copy in one of my email, or a copy to my secretary if I'm not around, so you can see the email. Even if I'm not around, have an auto reply and have a message goes to my email, or have a message goes to somebody else so they can reply to me when I'm traveling, for instance, to the US. Block and open, have a whitelist, a blacklist for people. Delay receipt also, and also confirm receipt, although that's not a GSM standard, but you'll need also a confirm of receipt by adding a bit of software also, which from this opens a whole suite of application that you can put on traditional SMS, basically, and traditional messaging. Have a message archive, archiving also. Have a sensitivity, basically, for the network to see whether what type of device they're using. Is it basically an SMS-enabled, MMS-enabled, instant messaging, and go through whatever the best transform. At the same time, have something like home routing, so it helps the operator to save money and to control the spam. Typical needs per subscribers, from the traditional messaging and from the traditional VAS services, basically. I'm a parental, basically. I need to stop messaging going to my kids to school. I need also to prevent bullying. I need to know, basically, when allow only the messaging to come from the family, especially for the small kids. I need to know whether, basically, I need to top up for them. For the youth, they need the convenience and self-expression, and as I said, the youth is very, very proud of being themselves. So they would like to have things, auto-reply, cool messaging, identification with themselves, ad inserts, group messaging. A lot of universities get sponsorship from the industry, basically. I've seen KPMG sponsoring universities in Switzerland, for instance, business students in Switzerland, and have an ad insertion at the end that this message is sponsored by KPMG. For the business community, it's basically forward message to the assistants, auto-reply, put signature, breeze, and use community share code for the message. Additional application also here that's from an enterprise point is basically have an interface from a web type application or from an application type business all the way to the messaging and the instance messaging, which, for instance, give a dentist want to have a review or have reminders to all of his patients, he can send it through these applications basically all the way to the mobile. And that takes me also to the biggest trend that's happening now in the industry, and which is the social media. And the social media, if you look at the people that are, I would say 80% of the people, this is the statistics, 80% of the people that are the age from 18 to 24 have a social media account. Are we going to ignore that? Are we going to ignore this opportunity? These people also like to be in contact with their friends, like to tell the status, like to keep in contact all the time with what's happening around them in the world, like to know, to be the first to know and first to know what's going on with their friends. So we created a social media gateway, basically, to address this market. And the statistics says that there is a lot of business there. If you look at the Facebook, they have about almost 500 million users. Out of them, 100 million of them is having mobile and like to interface with Facebook on the mobile. There is also Twitter, gives about 1 billion SMS tweets per month. MySpace gives about 50 million internal messages per day. There's a huge, basically, business here. The difference between being online and being on the mobile, in the mobile, you're instant. You're giving the status immediately to the people and getting them to know about your status. With this, we created our social networking gateway, basically, which is basically allowing the people that are on the Facebook, the Twitter, and MySpace to be connected online with all of their users through the mobile. And at the same time, we added a value add on top because we have that spam and threat control and made it reliable. So made sure that you're receiving the updates immediately and sending the updates immediately. And gives opportunity also to operators to add ad insertion, and also not just to be a dump pipe, but to add a value add here. And there is a business case behind that. We talked to so many operators, and a simple business case, I'll show you the details of business case. For the subscriber, this is cool because I can do direct messaging. I can be online all the time. I can immediate response to the posts. I can, have it all in one in the mobile. I don't have to be in the, and that's what's going on right now, mobile and tablets. For the operators, it's a chance to value add advertisement, and make some money here, and have it in a service package, have it in a bundle, basically. A simple example business case here is showing if an operator can charge basically per month or per week or per day, and we take an example of a very simple operator, have a 5 million subscriber, which I think this is smaller than any operator here in India. If I take an example of 5 million subscribers, if you have an uptake of the service of 1%, that means it's going to have 50,000 subscribers. If he charges $3 a month, and he charges per usage, basically, he will get about $4 per usage. So he'll make about $350,000 from just a simple service. That's not to add to it the mobile, just from the simple usage. So we'll get about $4.2 million in 1 month. If we take a 4% uptake, that means about $16 million per month. which is a payback in 1 month for such a service. That tells you about the potential of such an application, looking at the community, at the market that we have here. We have to address the youth. We're one of the people that are fortunate to have youth as part of our countries. Another application, and this is happening also if you have been in the industry for a long time, I remember from the days I started attending the GSM Congress when it was in Nice. It's location-based services. And everybody's, at the days of the WAP and location-based services, started talking about location-based services. But nothing happened till I think very, very recently when we started to having 3G and we're starting having the digitized maps. With this, that opened the whole era for all new applications, basically. Because having basically the location-based services, you can start to identify mobile advertisement, instant messaging also on top of that, and a whole era of applications on top. So things like with targeting mobile ads, exploit real-time application, yellow pages, and location-based push. And you can move from that also to every kind of things also. Where is the hospital? Where is the nearest doctor? Where is the, how I can get the nearest services, basically, and push-pull communications on top of that. But the trick is how to charge for it, how to bundle it, how to make it reliable, and how to basically make it to the end user liking, basically, to what I want as a personalized services. And this is, we have a location-based application, and we have a location-based gateway also in our offering. And a simple application for the location-based is for parents, basically, to know and to protect where is their child. So a child walking with a mobile, you can enable this service, and you know exactly where is your child. So if he went to an area that you feel it's out of the comfort zone, it will notify you immediately that he's out of this area, and will give you an immediate SMS that your kid is out, or an instant message. At the same time, it could be a way for you to find your friends. So whenever you're in an area, you want to know who is your friends. Using location-based services, it can notify me about your friends also. And you can use it even to know where you are. If you're lost somewhere, when I go to the US, it's too big sometimes, I don't know where I am. And as I said, all of this is very good, very nice as an offering, but you need to be charged for it and bundle it, and you need to have a very, very strong charging engine, and also an application that will tell you, will stop when it reaches the spending limit, and will notify you that you're reaching the spending limit. That's why we have a very strong charging engine that will work with you, basically, to bundle and to, on the same time, to limit the spend. And we can use personalized charging to choose whatever type of charging engine and what type of bundle you want to have based on your basically what you can afford or what you want as a priority, basically. A survey that was done in Latin America, we've done this survey in Latin America and asked the users whether they are willing to pay for personalized charging, for basically for knowing, if they get spend notification, more than 60% uptake on this, saying, yes, we want to pay about spend notification for shared bundle by myself and my family, myself and my colleagues, basically. You can have that on my group, for instance, a group that goes together for a church or basically belonging. They can have a shared bundle. Service customization also, if I want a customized service to my likes, basically. Fair bandwidth, so if I want to be charged when I'm browsing, basically, when it's something related to the stock, related to an event that I want as a sport event, even if it's a peak time and I'm willing to be paying more, I can identify that. And I can do the spend limits also. Or also compression, because the highest of this is also not only to charge it, is to have a compression and optimization on top of the link also. And this is also can be done with software. So a simple example of a dynamic charging, basically, for data services is you allow the users to choose their own bundle, to create their own bundle. So basically, I can say I want this amount of voicemail, this amount of text, this data, MMS, and that's the amount. To make it even more sophisticated, I can say what type of device. If you're buying all of this thing, I can give you this device. And it's for the basically for the subscriber liking, basically, to say what he wants, what plan, and what type of device he wants. And I think this is where the operators should be heading, basically. They should be heading and giving the freedom to the users, and at the same time, move more and more into retail. The business model of telecoms is moving more and more into retail. So the KPIs in the telecom is not going to be basically not only the technology, it's going to be how long this offering is going to take basically to reach the customer and the uptake of it. It's in the retail, it's how you keep the product in the shelf space. How long does it stay in the supermarket? It's going to be the same thing, especially with the data offering. Again, we have a lot of examples of simple target offering, family example here that they can choose numbers and they choose a plan together, and basically they can top it up for the children can top it up, and they can get notifications immediately. A simple example also that we have done in an operator called Sitar in Aruba in the Caribbean. They can be starting with postpaid, and it's up to you and it becomes prepaid once you reach a spending limit. And this is very important, especially in the data side, because you can eat up a lot on the data side, but you need to be notified. The EU is passing a legislation that when you're roaming, you have to be notified about what is the data spend that you have. Just a simple conclusion about who we are as a company. As I said, we have about 240 actually operators. Here in India, we have every single operator except two. Every single operator also uses our systems. We have about 1,500 employees. We have 650 people in the R&D. We're in data services, messaging, and charging, and broadband. And we established from 2007. We're actually 20 years before 2007 we started. We started with CMG and Logica CMG. We were the first in commercial SMS launching with Telenor, basically, with TDC Denmark and Sonera in Finland. We were the first using interactive television show using SMS in 2002. We were the first company that have HTML-based mobile internet gateway, GPRS, in 2000 with KPN in the Netherlands. We have the first commercial MMS in the world. In 2002 with Telenor. We have the first IP-based total messaging solution for 3G with 3 in the UK in 2003. We have the first commercial video message in 2004. And we have the first, what we call Message Plus or personalized message in 2007 with Synctel, and we have more than 20 references now. And we have the first two-way between SMS and instant messaging with MTS in Russia. And we were the first to deploy first mobile broadband optimization solution with an operator in Asia-Pac. This is part of our partner network. These are people that work closely using our software and tightly integrate with our software. And these are basically the principles basically that we build our software in, being convergence, real-time, flexibility, optimization, and hardware rationalization. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, hi Sherif. Can we come on to the slide wherein we were mentioning about the personalized location-based services? Yes. The bar graph. Bar graph.
Is this one?
Next one. Next. Yes. Okay. Now, what would you be prepared to pay more for the following services? The particular slide. Now, what it does is it basically maps the entire, scans the entire personalized behavioral pattern of an individual. Correct?
I didn't get your question.
Okay, now these location-based services, what they do is basically they not only scan the entire purchase pattern, but not only that, but they also scan the entire behavioral pattern of an individual according to the way he uses his mobile or these services.
Mm-hmm.
What in future would prevent these services or this data to be misused?
To be what?
Misused.
Okay. Very good question. Thank you. Well, it's basically when you have this location-based, it has to be from a trusted. One of the things that I said, the user wants to be with a trusted vendor. This information is not going to be used for anybody. With location-based services, it sits with the operator or with the service provider. And when you're signing the contract, basically, you're signing also for exclusivity, basically, that the information, the marketing data that you have there has to be with the operator only. And if you don't want people to know where your location, you're the one who said whether I want to be notifying people about where my whereabouts or not. It's a service. You know, like when you're saying I want to be at who's my friends here, if he's activating that he's around, then people will know. If you don't want it to be used, nobody will know. But for an operator, of course, from a marketing perspective, people will use the data mining applications to know where your whereabouts, definitely. But to get you, because in my previous life I worked in IT in a big way, just to have the data mining to keep the information, the amount of data that's happening in the world right now, it's not that simple. It's very, very complex. You have to know a parameter only to analyze the data. It's very, very complex to go all the way to, you know, if you go data warehousing, and you've seen applications on data warehousing, they look at very, very simple parameters. Once you get complex, you need massive computing power. I've lived with that. I've worked with more than 20 data warehousing projects. And one of the biggest failures in the industry is data warehousing projects, by the way. Because people have very high expectations, and they need to simplify it. That was in the traditional CDI world, CDR. This is IPDRs, which is even more massive, 10 times more, at least. Any more questions?
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
My question would be, how can we replicate the same success of M-PISA in rural India, given that the tariff rates are so low, and again, the cost of a value-added service would be anywhere between, say, 50 cents or 30 cents. And which leaves no room for profits for the telecom operator and the value-added service content provider.
Okay. It's a very, we're looking at things today, and we're looking at it from, well, it's a necessity basically for life, and it's a necessity for the operator. It's eat or be eaten. I don't think an operator or a service provider have a choice at the moment. They have to be innovative of the services that they provide to this. By traveling myself, in my experience, I worked a lot in Africa. And I looked at how the operators there in Africa also touched the life of the poor fishermen that's going every day. There was an application that I have seen in Senegal, for instance, that tells about the weather every day in the morning to the people going for fishing. That's what's the most reliable application that the people are using every day in the morning. People used to get the mobile phone just to see this application in the morning before they go fishing. So you have to touch it, the life of the poor people that are working in the rural areas, basically by giving them applications that are important to their life. And with this, you can make money. And the way that technology is going, the evolution with technology, the devices are coming, the prices are dropping. And it's also the mass market. So I don't think there's a choice for anybody in this value chain. I think we have to go to the rural area. We have to focus on the rural area. This is where the growth is. There is no more growth in the urban areas. So it's not a choice. That's my opinion. Okay, all right, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a thought-provoking session on vast environment. I'm sure your insights on providing innovative services and enhancing user experience to generate revenue would be valuable for all present here.